Hi there, I'm back again to share another recipe with you today. This time I've got one for some gluten-free Easter cookies. The recipe I'm using is actually a little play on the ginger biscuit recipe that I've already shared with you. So that's my grandma's ginger biscuit recipe. It's such a good base recipe. I did feel that it would work, not using the ginger and then having it as a plain cookie and then adding other ingredients to it. So I gave it a go the other week. I've tried the recipe out twice now, and today's going to be my third time. I've done it sometimes with a few more eggs in and not so many eggs, but it's your choice. I'm going to give it you as I do it, and then it's up to you how you want to work with it. So as always, I'm going to just drop the camera down now and get on and show you how I make them. Okay, so into the bowl I'm going to put some softened butter. I've had this out for about an hour and a half, and I popped it in a place that was a little bit warmer just to soften the butter up a bit, because if you don't have it softened, when you come to mix it, it leaves like the little lumps here and there, so it's a lot easier if it's softened. And then into the bowl then I'm going to add some light muscovado sugar, and then to that I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Vanilla extract's one of those things I've mentioned before that you just need to check just to make sure it's gluten free. So that's going to go in there. Okay, and then I'm going to add a tablespoon of syrup. So just so it's a bit easier to come off the spoon, I'm just going to heat the spoon a little bit in some boiling water, and then all being well, it should just slip off the spoon then when I pour it onto the spoon, should I say. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so that makes it a little bit easier. More or less all the syrup comes off there. Okay, and then finally into the bowl for now, I'm going to add an egg. Okay, the eggs that I've got are really good ones at the moment, and I'm pretty confident that it's always okay. But just to be on the safe side, I do tend to crack it into a bowl first, just to make sure if it's not quite right, the egg, then obviously it's not spoiling the rest of the ingredients. So I'm just going to pop that in there now. With those ingredients in there now, I'm just going to whisk it with an electric whisk, and just whisk it until it's light and creamy. So just every now and again, it's really good just to stop the mixer and then just clear the side of the bowl. Just so everything gets mixed in well in there. Okay, so when it gets to that stage, that's absolutely fine then, and then you can add the flour. So I've just got some gluten-free self-raising flour today. The flour that I'm using has already got xanthan gum in, so I'm not going to add any more xanthan gum. But if the flour you're using doesn't have xanthan gum already added, then if you add, I'd say, 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, that will be absolutely fine. Do check the ingredients as well, because if it's got guar gum in the flour already, you won't need the xanthan gum adding as well. And so to the flour, I'm just going to add a teaspoon of bicarb of soda. The bicarb of soda is something you just need to check to make sure it's gluten-free, because not all bicarbs will be gluten-free. They may have some extra fillings added to it, so just double check on that. Okay, and I'm just going to sift this through. Okay, that's a good start. This seems falling into the mixture. Okay. And I'm just going to stir that through then, the flour. I don't need the mixture after that point. The good thing about this cookie recipe, it makes a lot. We've been eating a lot of cookies over the last few weeks, but they do make a lot, but they do keep as well. So it's, you know, it's a really good bake to do, and also it's something that's a nice one for the children to help with as well, this particular one. Okay, so when it gets to that stage, I'm going to add the crushed eggs. So I'm using today, I'm using the mini eggs. And I've tried the recipe with just 2 packets of these mini eggs, and I've tried it with 3. I'm preferring it with 3 packs of the eggs, but you can change. But what I would say is, I find that if you add more eggs, it doesn't take, the cookies don't take as long to cook. Sorry about the noise. Okay, and to crush the eggs, what I use is the rolling pin, because if you actually tried to crush them in like a food processor or something like that, they wouldn't really do it that evenly, and you might end up like lots of crumb and then a few odd chunky bit of egg. But whereas this, you can gauge it a bit more. So you do it in a robust bowl and crush them up like this. Okay, so by doing it like that, as I say, you've got some quite nice chunky bits, but it's not too much like crumbs, so you can gauge it better if you do it with the rolling pin. I did mention before, in the UK, mini eggs are gluten-free and they have no may contain warnings on the pack. Just use an equivalent gluten-free one if you're in a different country. There's some quite nice ones actually at Sainsbury's over here in the UK. Got like little tiny mini eggs, so probably about 1/4 the size of these, and they would work quite well as well, because obviously you wouldn't need to crush them then as well. Okay, so just mix it in, and the reason why I sort of said stop before when it wasn't quite mixed in is it allows you then not to then over mix the mixture before it comes together, and it gives the chance for the eggs to get incorporated in here as well. Okay, so once it gets to that stage, I just get my hands in then at this point. Okay, and then just bring the dough together. It's a nice dough to work with. It's not sort of too sticky or anything. It's a nice one to handle. So say, yeah, this cookie recipe, it's a really good one, I say, thanks to my grandma and my cousin introducing me to the ginger biscuit recipe. It's just one of those recipes that will adapt really well, and you can add, you know, all different things into the cookie mixture itself. So, I mean, I know the original recipe I've shared is called biscuits, but I tried to look up to see what the difference between a cookie and a biscuit is, but I think I can officially call these cookies. Okay, so I'm just going to roll some little balls of cookie dough now, and then get them baked off in the oven. So I've prepared a tray there. Just going to see which is the best way to show you them. Okay, and then I'm just going to break off, and you can please yourself how big you want your cookies to be. You can go smaller, but just adjust the cooking time accordingly if you want to go a little bit smaller. But that's the size I tend to go with, and that I found works really well. As I say, because the eggs are in there, I do find that it doesn't need quite as long as the the ginger biscuit that I shared with you. I don't feel that it needs quite as long. What I've done, I tried it with the 2 packs of the eggs, and it did use the full cooking time that was in my ginger biscuit recipe, but adding more eggs, obviously you've not got as much mixture to cook. I find they don't take quite as long, because when I baked them for the same length of time, the cookies were quite crispy. But play about with it. It depends how you like your cookie, whether you like it that little bit chewy and underdone, or whether you like it quite crispy. Okay, that's them. So just spread it out, because they're going to spread a bit on the tray there. And I'm just going to bake those. The mixture makes about between 18 and 20 cookies. So, depending on the size you make them, just adjust the cooking time accordingly. So I'm just going to bob them in the oven, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're baked. There we go. So I've just took the cookies out of the oven now, and I've baked them for about 15 minutes. And that they look like they're just right, actually, because say last time when I baked them they were a little bit overdone. So far I've done 2 trays of cookies. So what I'm going to do is leave them on the tray now for about 5 or 10 minutes, just so they cool a little bit, and then I'm going to transfer them onto a cooling rack, and then I'm going to reline the trays again, and then go again with another batch of cookies. So I'll just show you what they look like when they cool down, so you can see what the texture's like inside. There we go. So that's all the cookies baked off now. I'm really pleased with how these have turned out today. I baked them for 15 minutes, and I think that's just the perfect sort of time. And I'm just going to show you what they look like inside. So they're nice and crisp around the edge, and then they're just soft inside. So just perfect, the perfect cookie texture. So I'm really pleased with those. It's a great basic recipe that you can use and switch and change, so you don't have to add the eggs in. You could put chocolate in and different things, but just work with this as a basic cookie recipe. But if you have any questions, then please do give me a shout. I'd be more than happy to help, as always. So I'm delighted with those. Okay, so that's my Easter cookie recipe, so my gluten-free Easter cookie recipe. The recipe is over on my blog, so I'll put a link in the written description below that'll take you across to the blog for the full written recipe. Thanks as always for watching the video today. If you've liked it, then please do give me a thumbs up. It's not just for me, but it encourages other people to watch the videos as well, and get inspired to make lots of gluten-free bakes, so that's brilliant. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, then if you're able to do that, that would be absolutely fantastic too. And I look forward to being back again with you really soon to share more recipes. Bye for now.